Hola all, welcome to Soul Mechanics. I will be temporarily filling in the role of your host, Donovan Neal. We're speaking to intuition in this video. I have to do it as quickly as is possible because A, I'm already running late on Friday right now, and B, for some reason I seem to have lost 5 minutes worth of space by deleting things. So again, we have a space issue with the damn phone, but it's a beautiful phone, not complaining. I love you, phone, and obviously, I love this phone. We're going to be speaking to intuition, and in doing this, we're stepping over. We are skipping over a video that needs to be done in the series on the anatomy of identity, that course regarding senses, but regarding intuition as a sensory perception, one of the primary faculties of sensory perception. In this one, there are two measures really of which to go about referencing intuition. We'll speak about the philosophical measures in the next video, and hopefully I'll be able to get more space and maybe get an SD card or something. But in this one, we're just going to present an introduction to the general principle dynamics theory of intuition. Now, at work, I was thinking about this at work the other day. When I'm packaging things and when I'm running the machinery, I'm actually capable now of kind of anticipating when the machinery is going to fail, and I can go ahead and set up prep to fix it before it even fails. And I can set up packaging for other people and cover for other people. I can move ahead of things and get things done in advance because I can anticipate what's going to happen. And for the most part, I learn to do things easier, faster. Any of us doing anything, we learn to perform tasking faster, sharper, with a greater degree of precision. And we train ourselves to employ these tactics over time. Some move faster than others. Hi, Winky. Now, the general idea would be, what if I could go back, kind of time travel into the past, maybe in the first day even, and make use of these tactics in advance, have them available. A secondary example of this might be playing a video game where you go up against like a boss character or something. I used to play a lot of video games. I just got a cool one on this phone, a rip-off of Metal Gear. I got a rip-off of Zelda 2. I'm going to do reviews on them in the other channel I intend to launch. But playing a video game, you go up against a boss, you get your ass kicked, you get stuck, but you learn to fight it, you learn, tactics to use and ways to evade it and such, and then when you go back from your save point, you use those to beat it. You get better and better until you actually get through it. Now, the idea is going to be, what if you could figure these measures of progress in your daily life, try again for the most part. Well, you can, and on one hand, not only are you actually existing in the past in so many different ways, and we'll get to that later, but you can take my word for it for the moment. You are in fact existing in the past. And not only are you in the past, but your brain is in the future. I presented a problem in one of my earlier videos, the invitation video. I presented the binding problem in neurophysiology or neuroscience. And one of the examples of this is when you catch a ball, like when you're playing baseball or whatever, and you catch a ball, the trajectory of that ball is calculated in the brain in such a perfect way as to allow for you to, throw out your hand and catch it, whereas in fact the signals that cause for you to take that action are quite a ways behind the actual happening of it. It's happening in the world, but the signals that fire, they still take time to get to where they're going and cause a reaction in you, even if it's just a minuscule amount of time. What's happening is the brain is actually thinking backwards, and it's calculating, it's thinking backward in order to exact the measurements that are required to perform the necessary tasking. And again, time is perceived in reverse. This is happening in so many different ways. Any way you look at it, you are perceiving time backwards. And, we'll get into that too, but it's not a bad thing. That's just the case as it stands. But we can, in fact, turn it around, which would be a good thing. So, you are perceiving time in reverse. We all are. Now, at the very least, we can say here that the brain is quite a ways ahead of us and can think ahead of us. This is hard science. This is proven fact. So anybody who wants to argue with it, especially as I keep speaking to the atheist community who are just going to argue everything because that's all they do, like this debate rhetoric mentality where they have to argue with everything that falls outside of really quite simple and immature construct. We really need to shape out. We need to expand our awareness here. Get moving faster. We're running out of time in that regard. But that's a proven fact. It's simple. The brain is ahead of us. We are behind what is actually happening in reality. That's how it works. That's common knowledge. But we can go deeper with the theory of eternal recurrence, which has been presented largely by a spotter named Anthony Peake, who came up with this theory working with the problem of deja vu. We all experience or have experienced deja vu at some point. The feeling as though you've experienced something before, like the knowing that you've experienced something before, and even the ability to see what's going to happen in advance at that point. Several theories have been presented by modern science as to how and why this happens, but each of these theories have failed under critical examination. This theory, however, is very, very probable. I'm going to lean towards this theory because A, I like it, B, it's super fascinating, and C, this understanding has been presented by the elder traditions. It's a part of our heritage. We've been told this forever and ever and ever, and we didn't have the science to comprehend it properly until now, but we do. And we'll get into that too. And I'll provide you guys links and such if you want to go look into. But you can look into Anthony Peake's work. Any video you find on him, he's going to talk about that. Cheating the ferryman. Anyways, the theory of eternal recurrence here suggests that we have in fact lived the life or lives that we are living many times over. Our immediate memory, the eidolon as it's called, the ephemeral self, or the body essentially, is perceiving the game as it plays directly. It works from the frame of reference of being right here, right now, in this moment, because that's how the game is played. It's going to be a goal of the game, in fact, an objective to learn to think forward and to move ahead, to move faster, to see things coming. Now, the eidolon, or the ephemeral self, is existing from this contextual frame of reference in the here and now, while the perpetual self, or the daemon, as it's called, what is often referred to as being the higher self, in fact remembers the last time that you did this, remembers every time that you've done this. And so it sees what's coming, and it knows, it doesn't necessarily know what the right choices are, but it knows what some of the wrong choices are. And so it will push you towards the better choices, or the other choices rather, while trying to get you away from the choices that are going to get you killed for the most part. But this is what we would talk about as our sense of intuition would kind of be in this theory. The communications that we receive from this higher self, or this daemon figure. The communications that are in play between us, between the ephemeral and perpetual self. And from time to time you can in fact fuse the two, and the perpetual self can kind of step in and temporarily take over for your ephemeral self. These transactions, these receptions, can come through in synchronicity. It could be as simple as a gut feeling or thoughts you have in the back of your head, but it does in fact present in the world around you. The entire world is the mind or soul. It's one soul, it's one mind, and your thoughts, your subconscious realizations will present in the world around you. And these thoughts often present as cues that your brain is constantly collecting points of inferences, references. It's collecting items of interest that hold meaning to you personally in your subjective experience. And the world will communicate with you by making use of cues that are most adaptable to your personal schematic. Going deeper into this, we can make use of the collective consciousness theory presented by Carl Jung and other such philosophers before him, which again is proven. The Baxter effect proves this. So I mean, it's simple. It's science. It's not accepted a lot by again the atheist community or the scientism community for whatever reason. I don't know, just because it kind of confounds them. They don't really understand it yet, but we do, and it's really simple. So I mean, pick up the pace, guys. But getting back to the video game scenario, you really get stuck on a boss like bad. You can't get through it. You Google it, right? You Google the fucking strategy guide or what have you, and you get an answer. Now, imagine that you could access Google, for the most part, and as extensional internet of sorts, in regards to the choices that you make, the options you have available in your daily life. Well, you don't really need to actually access any existential internet because you already have it. The brain is it. Any available options you have, anything that could possibly transpire in your life is already in the brain. If it weren't there, it couldn't happen because you experience it in the brain. This is common sense. It's common logic. Now, it's going to be a really simple kind of machinery that, causes for the various associations and relationships that transpire in neurons firing in the brain to cause for implications to transpire that create your experience. So, I mean, it's really, the brain is a simple mechanism, but the manner in which it functions is so complex that it creates literally everything. And so every available option is already available, and you can access this information. It's what elder spotters would have referred to as being an Akashic record, or so, collective consciousness or such. But it's really just the soul. It's the mind. It's the dream. So you don't really need to connect to some existential internet. You already are the net. You're a holographic representation of the whole. And I have, in fact, gone ahead and given you everything you need to completely comprehend this and make use of it immediately. If you go ahead and browse through my videos and, take some of the pointers I give you and utilize synchronicity to pick what videos to watch at what time, put the pieces of the puzzle together, you're going to find yourself the proud owner of a very sleek and magnificent vehicle that can get you moving a hell of a lot faster. I'm not going to speak to you individually. I mean, some of you might be faster than I am, but a lot of you could use that sort of help. I mean, that's what I'm here for. I'm not trying to say that I'm better than you guys. I've just gone ahead and I've figured things out a little faster. And I'm presenting it to you. I'm doing the best that I can. I'm fighting like hell for it. I've got 3 minutes remaining. So, basically, just as with the work scenario, you train yourself to do things better for the most part. For all intents and purposes, you train yourself to do things better. What you're doing here, essentially, is training yourself to take your own lead and to trust your intuition, to learn to follow it, to communicate with it. And that's how synchronicity operates. If you don't understand synchronicity, get the Celestine Prophecy, read it. It'll give you a very simple schematic as to how to make use of it immediately, and it will present itself to you as you're reading the book. I promise you, the world will light up and talk to you if you suspend your disbelief for a moment and take a shot at it. Take a solid shot at being a real investigator instead of dismissing things that do not fit into your profile. Anyways, that's all the time I have. I love you guys. Thank you so much for watching. I hope this has been helpful. We'll try to do a hell of a lot more in the future. Keelah, Taerve, siari, Namasté.